So today, oh, by the way, hello everybody. Good morning. We're going to be talking about a book called Dawn by Octavia Butler. I'm going to dispense with my normal format for this book because it's the first book in a trilogy, and I don't think it's fair to try and discuss like the deeper themes of it until I've finished all three books. So, hey, here's a spoiler for the next couple videos. We're going to be talking about the Xenogenesis trilogy by Octavia Butler. But anyway, I'm going to go heavier on the plot as opposed to trying to dig into themes. We might get a little bit into themes a little bit later on in the video. But for right now, I just want to try and relate what the plot is. So, a woman wakes up in a featureless cell. She has no idea where she is. She knows that the Earth had a major war. Obviously, it was a nuclear war. She knows that she had been trying to survive, and she just wakes up in the cell all of a sudden. People, voices start asking her questions from nowhere, and she constantly has no idea why they're asking these questions, or who's asking the questions, or anything. It turns out that I'm going to try and avoid. I think I'm just going to kind of go into some. I guess you'd call them spoilers, just because I can relate the whole plot. But I mean, please be aware that this is only the first third of the trilogy, so I don't think there's any spoilers to be had here. Basically, she finds out that the last remnants of humanity, there's only a very handful of humans left on the entire planet, were, I guess you'd say, abducted by aliens. They're a race called the Oankali, and they want to help humanity come back to the Earth. The Oankali are disgusting looking. They are vaguely humanoid. But instead of eyes, mouth, ears, they have what looks like worms growing out of their orifices to be used as sense organs. They they are repulsive to humans, horribly repulsive to humans, and they present giving the Earth back to humans as a trade. The basic trade is humans they'll clean up the Earth. They will take the surviving humans back to the Earth so that they can live out their lives. They'll give the humans a long life of very good health. They will live for a very, very long time, but they can no longer have children the normal human way. The Oankali are a trisexual species. There's a male, a female, and then there's a sort of non-gendered member called an Uloi that helps exchange genetic material between the male and female to give birth to new Oankali. And that's the way humans will be having children from now on, because the Oankali want to make the succeeding generations. Any children born to humans will be a little bit more like the Oankali. Any children born to Oankali will be a little bit more like humans. Basically, bringing the two races together into one race. Obviously, that's that means, if you go by the idea that humans are genetics, that means that the human race will no longer exist. Of course, it would also mean the Oankali race would no longer exist. Lilith, the main character, has a major problem with that, because nobody in their right minds is going to want to mate with an Oankali, because, let's face it, you got a thing standing there with earthworms coming out of its head. I mean, and basically a natural tracheotomy that they eat through. It's they're not a very handsome race. But here's the thing: at no point in this book are the Oankali portrayed as evil. They do care about humans. They really do want to help humans. They don't believe in killing. They don't believe in killing. They don't believe in forcing humans to do anything other than, if you want to have kids, this is the way you're going to have kids. Um, it's a it's somewhat of a touchy subject because obviously the book is touching upon eugenics to a certain extent. Although I don't really think that's part of the themes of this book. I mean, basically, the Oankali see themselves as traders and wanting to trade genetic material. Humans see it as the end of the human race and being forced to mate with these ugly worm creatures. Um, for obvious reasons. And most of the book takes part with Lilith being taught to wake up the humans from their suspended animation, because it's been 250 years since humans were abducted. They've cleaned up the planet, and Lilith is tasked with introducing humanity to the Oankali. Um, there is a large section of the book that really digs into the Oankali race and really personifies this alien race. They are truly alien. They they seem to care about humanity. They don't want humanity to die out. They want humanity to change. They consistently truly do care about every single human in their custody. They make sure that no humans can hurt one another or hurt Oankali, but they are 100% adamant that, that future children will not be human or Oankali. It'll be a mixture of the two races. That is non-negotiable. Where do I stand? Where would you stand on that? I mean, honestly, it's, at first it seems like a decent exchange, but I mean, basically, the Oankali are not here to just help us. They want something from us. They want to become a little bit more like us, and for us to become a little bit more like them. I don't know where I would stand on that. And it does have to be touched upon that snatching human beings from where they were living and telling them to live in a completely different type of life. I mean, okay, let's put it this way: Octavia Butler is a black female. Look at me. I am not a black female. I can't speak to what is on her mind, but I will say that I have a feeling that might be one of the deeper themes of this trilogy. We'll get into that after I finish the third book. I can't speak to it right now. Um, and one of the things I love about this book is how, while a lot of people would truly object to what the Oankali are doing, at no point are the Oankali portrayed as evil villains. They're not mustache twirling villains. They're not looking to, they're not looking to hurt people. They're looking to change people. And I really do like that. The Oankali are presented as individuals. They're not one of the things I hate about some science fiction is how alien races are presented as like a monoculture. Um, take take Star Trek for example. The Ferengi are all presented as one single money obsessed culture. I kind of hate that. I like That's the reason why I like Deep Space Nine, is because in Deep Space Nine the Ferengi were presented as having maybe differences of opinions, different types of values, individuals rather than rather than just aliens. I really like that, and I really like that about this book. Um, but At the moment, I really can't say much more. I will be talking about the second book next week. But definitely, I will say go out and read this book because Octavia Butler deserves every possible accolade she's gotten throughout her career. And trust me, she's gotten quite a few. I've had only read one other book by her before this, and I'm really interested to see where this trilogy goes. But we'll talk a little bit more about this next week. Have a great week. Stay positive. Bye bye.